right, welcome to Gen X Rated Tuesday edition. How we doing, Billy?
Still hot.
It is smoking
Definitely
hot.
still hot. Yeah. So
I think I saw at 1 o'clock here it was 99 degrees.
and the humidity feels like it's about 110%.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that does with the humidity, but maybe 100 plus. I don't said it might rain today. That's not happening. Maybe tomorrow. We kind of need something to break this heat, but
Yeah.
what are you gonna do? I prefer this to the storms, though.
Well, yeah, that's true. But there's always a huge storm always follows up these things. So it's just like waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yeah. Well, so far it hasn't. I don't think we have had rain since last Tuesday, so it's been a week.
Yeah.
Pretty dry and pretty hot.
And humid.
And
Muggy, as we'd say on the East Coast.
yeah, a little bit muggy, but we're managing. Uh, my AC has been running nonstop, so I guess I'm pretty fortunate, but that only brings more trouble and broken parts and
Yeah. And then, the utility bill comes, and that's never fun.
good point.
Mm-hmm.
Half my house likes it really cold, which I'm not a huge fan of, but here we are.
Yeah. I don't like it too cold. I just don't want to be sweating inside.
I just remember in Houston, you would be sweating and then you would go into over air conditioned. And then after a while, I felt like I was getting sick. Just didn't like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Too much. But anyway, weather aside, at least the sun's shining and we've made it to Tuesday.
So yeah, I'm pretty excited. I'm still waiting for my invitation to the Bezos wedding. It's like a royal wedding. It's like a fairy tale dream come true.
I'm not sure that you're on that list.
Yeah, no. And in case you couldn't tell, I was being sarcastic. I just think it's obscene the amount of money this guy. And I'm glad Venice is pushing back. They don't want this bullshit. These guys, these oligarchs, they really think that they're the new rulers of the world.
Do what you want, wherever you want.
It's insane. You're getting married. That's great. Good for you. And you know what? Looking at you and looking at her, I doubt it's going to last. I hope you got her to sign a prenup there, Jeff.
I don't know. I don't know where he's going, and who's leaving that sack of money.
Well, you get your prenup, man. You put up with it as long as you can, and you bail out and you take your golden parachute.
Well, he's not getting any younger.
That's true.
I don't know that he'll be letting her go. You're right about the activists in Venice. It was pretty interesting. They really pushed back. They were joined by, I think Greenpeace came out as well, just to kind of say you can't just own our town.
Yeah.
And I think the number is 200 guests. It's like a 3-day jamboree. 95 PJs will be coming through here. Here's a person on the guest list coming up right here. Yeah. So Ivanka's there too. So they had to change the venue, not only because of the activists, but then they changed the story to security once the U.S. got involved with Iran. They want to protect Ivanka. So kind of the priority, they put him in a safer place, also in Italy. Also, people aren't necessarily thrilled. But once they see Leonardo DiCaprio come out, maybe hearts will change. Huh?
Oh, if Leo's coming.
Leo's in the house. Ivanka, whatever her name is, Kardashian. So should be really great.
Who even cares?
It's the worst. It's a huge pseudo event that nobody really cares about. They put it together like this, which I thought was kind of interesting. I think Bernie Sanders had mentioned this. 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, and we do have kids going hungry. I will throw this out there. The Miami Herald today put out that adults making under $80,000 can't afford to live comfortably in any state.
Yeah, I believe it.
Not just Florida. So these are real numbers. But Bezos is worth $230 billion with a B, obviously. He goes to Venice on his $500 million yacht. This wedding's going to cost about $20 million. And then, of course, the engagement ring was another $5 million. It's a lot of cash. But his real tax rate that he's charged at is 1.1%. So he can afford all this stuff, but none of it's going into the tax fund that goes back to the better, social needs of Americans, who he basically is playing off of. We buy all this shit.
Yeah, no, these people, they literally do not give a shit about anybody. They've created their own little society. They have completely separated themselves. They don't live in the
Well, why do we aspire to be like them? Why do we find them to be so amazing? I don't understand.
I don't know. People are dumb, I guess. Just the dumbing down of America continues because, yeah, I mean, hey, Jeff Bezos built a great company and he worked hard, I'm sure. Um, but at the same time, he's just a guy. Puts his pants on one leg at a time, like you and I do. Wipes his ass, takes a shit. Well, maybe he pays somebody to wipe it for him. I don't know.
You better have a
Uh,
bidet. Are you kidding me? That's disgusting.
Maybe, yeah. And bidets are great. But yeah, everybody thinks they're going to be the next winner. I mean, look at anything that you see on TV. You see game shows, people, playing for money. You see some of these stupid reality shows, these people just trying so hard to stay relevant, getting looking weirder and weirder on plastic surgery. It's just, I don't know. I think it's a sign of a really sick society. I
Could
really
be.
do.
We definitely have our issues, and we have a lot of false gods. To your point, all the Mar-a-Lago face stuff, and they feel like they're pressured by society to do this, but that seems kind of like a cop out. I mean, we all make choices. We
Hmm.
look as good as we feel, or we can, through plastics, try and be even better. But you're still the same person.
Yeah, you're still the same rotten person inside.
Yeah, so I just don't get it. And maybe with less ability for upward mobility, that it kind of pushes us to the point where, hey, I need to be that next lucky millionaire or billionaire because I don't see the rungs on the ladder that are going to take me to success in this current environment. So,
Oh yeah. No, that ladder's been pulled way up.
and that started under Dick Cheney. Just one added point of grossness with Stephen Miller. Palantir, he bought up some of that stock before we went to war with Iran. Obviously, he was well aware of it, but he has about 100,000 to 250,000 shares of this stock, which is not a cheap stock. So, easy peasy. It's like fish in a barrel for a guy like that.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, the corruption is so blatant. It's so in your face.
But they think they earned it, and they think they're smart enough that this is what they should get. They're owed this, and that's the part that kind of bothers me.
Oh, I know. Yeah. And meanwhile, you're upending lives. You're, destroying people's lives, just chasing this arbitrary number. It's a record we've got to beat. We're not getting enough deportations out.
Wow.
Like, if you're anywhere near where we are on the, underneath this heat dome, look around. Look at who's cutting the grass today. Look who's out there in 100-degree heat and, 95% humidity. Look who's up on a roof today.
Yeah.
And it's just, these are the people that they're just randomly rounding up and sending away. And the Supreme Court has signed off on it in a bizarre decision, just saying, hey, you can send them to any foreign country you like. No problem. No due process. You can pick them up and put them on a plane. Like, what the fuck?
That is actually incredible. And I don't know why they just didn't pass on that, why that was something they felt they had to rule on today.
No idea. This court makes no sense at all. John Roberts is going to go, if we're ever allowed to write the true history of this era, John Roberts is going to go down as either a spineless lackey or just a completely incompetent boob.
That sounds about right on all cases. To your point about the numbers, I mean, he's been trying to chase Obama and Biden numbers of deportation. Again, we know over Obama's time, over 4 million people were deported from this country. I don't remember the ICE shows. I don't remember people not showing ID. I don't remember neighbors having to come out and defend their other neighbors. It was really not a thing. But with this orange guy, everything's got to be magnified and really hair raising, I guess, to get noticed.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, to your point, they are getting record numbers. They have 56,000 people currently, immigrants that have no prior convictions. So they're just trying to get these numbers based on picking up anybody and everybody.
Yeah. Who are you trying to impress with these numbers? You're the fellow maggots? I mean, seriously, you're destroying people's lives for this arbitrary number.
Well,
And you know what? You want to beat the record? Let's shoot for something good. Maybe like record high employment, record high or record low inflation. How about that?
Sure.
But no, we're not going to do that. We're just going to do something that's cruel and has absolutely no point. Sure, if you want to deport people that are here illegally with a criminal record, that's fine. But you're just destroying lives of people that came here to work hard, pay their taxes, get nothing out of it, and try to build a better life. And what they're doing is it's morally wrong, and it's just disgusting and disturbing.
It's been really great to see the pushback.
Mhm.
Neighbors actually coming out. I think the key is, and people are learning through having to figure this out on the fly, they have to present ID. You can ask them point blank for name and badge number. Most of these guys that aren't giving it are still trying to intimidate, whether it's pulling a gun, whether it's multiple guys jumping out of a car to get in your face, but they're not able to take you away when you're asking these questions.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, other neighbors are calling 911. Once the police come, and this has been a real pleasant surprise, it's a total twist of the situation where now the police are listening to the residents, and they can see the bullying that's going on, and they understand that these people, some of them are just basically bounty hunters. They're not law enforcement. Some have very little training in any of that. And to go and abduct somebody, it's not an easy task. Even if they're willing to come with you, you need to present documentation to be able to do stuff like that and prove who you are.
Yeah, just these are just a bunch of thugs, like fake tough guys.
And I will say this: most of the videos I've seen have been women that have been pushing back against these guys. So super impressive. It brings us to our next point about what you're going to do with these people. Let me see where I can find it. Florida's involved, obviously, because Trump loves Florida. Let's put this up. It's
dangling appendage of the continent.
Alligator Alcatraz. I mean, what could be better?
Yeah, that looks like a great idea.
Here's some alligators, really easy to get to. So that would be a pretty easy thing to just swoop some people up and put them down there. The problem is the cost. So this is in the Florida Everglades. They want to take all the migrants down there. It would cost $450 million a year to run, which, I get it. The expense of a medical staff and security, et cetera. That's really not a thing. They want to open this up in July, and they said it'll be mostly tents. I know camping gear is expensive, but $450 million in tents, because they said they wouldn't need a whole lot of added security because, it's in such a place that's surrounded by alligators, crocodiles, pythons. You've got some other snakes, Florida panthers, obviously, black bears, bobcats. So we're not even hiring security necessarily for this, but it's super expensive.
Yeah, funny how that works out. I wonder who's pocketing that.
Well, the Florida AG is all for it, and again, they won't take a lot more money than the $450 million a year that's going to somebody. Maybe it goes to the people that are consulting for private prisons. I don't know. Know anybody like that? It's in our government.
That's a real head scratcher.
Mm-hmm. Tom something or other.
Yeah, kind of has a face, looks like a canned ham.
Yeah.
So seems to have a thing for Eric Adams, the mayor of New York, really wants to get up on that ass.
Yeah, come on. The Diddy trial's almost over, so we can move on from that. Freak offs. Part of the issue is that the Florida Everglades are a source of clean drinking water, for one. It's also the cornerstone of the region's economy. So to bring in all these guys reminds me of that cruise ship that lost power halfway through the Gulf, and for 5 days people were using buckets to go dookie. Everybody was sick, and it was disturbing. So imagine we have, and they will get numbers up to ship down there. Where are these people going? You're in a tent. You're going to be digging a lot of holes. You don't think that ends up getting into the seawater at some point? I mean, it's just really, really, really short-sighted. It will be funded by FEMA, is what Homeland Security said. So apparently FEMA's got money for this, but not to fix Arkansas or North Carolina or South Carolina or St. Louis, Missouri, wherever.
Unbelievable. And, and hurricane season just getting underway, just around the corner. So
Hurricane what? There's a season for that.
I've declared an executive order, no more hurricanes. They'll be gone. They'll just disappear just like that.
Yes, and any reports of them will be false. So
Yeah.
don't listen to the fake news.
Well, now the fake news is telling us that Trump's big bombing raid was kind of a dud.
Yeah. I think that was reported fairly quickly, but once CNN comes out with it, then we can do the pushback. KK Caroline's blasting whoever the leaker was and what an amazing job Trump did. And he had the nerve to do what other presidents couldn't, and it was the perfect this, that, and the other. Photos don't lie. We can see that maybe he hit a few things that might push back their nuclear processing a month or two, but everything that he said turned out to be a lie. Weird.
That's a shocker. I can't believe that. Well, and there were reports too that the Iranians had warning that this was coming.
Oh yeah. Well, listen, he tweeted about it so much. I think they started moving things right away.
Yeah, I mean, just another made-for-TV publicity stunt again. Spending who knows how many dollars to pull this little operation off, and then taking the credit. And now he's mad at both Israel and Iran.
Yeah, he dropped the F-bomb today.
Yeah, this guy's a complete joke. He is. And it would be funny if it wasn't so fucking dangerous and pathetic. Again, he's a clown. Pete Hegseth is just a drunken idiot and way over his head. And these are the people that you have. And, fortunately, it looks like they haven't started World War III. But, who knows what these idiots are going to be up to next.
I couldn't agree more. And we have been fortunate that it hasn't gotten worse, because I think most people know that. I will say that even in his team, and we know that Gabbard is out and Hegseth really isn't part of it, but even the people left, Stephen Miller, were giving him false information. So Trump didn't know the real reality of the details, because they knew that he's a liability. So that is just a place we've never really been before, where all of a sudden even our leadership is just kind of 2 notches below what we voted for, right? Nobody voted for Stephen Miller, no matter how rich he is off his Palantir stock. I really don't care.
That dude is hateful.
So, and just to finish on the Everglades, a lot of the locals are saying that to consider such an expansive move in such a short period of time, July, I mean, it's the 24th of June, with no obvious plans, no adequate staff for medical or other services or security in the middle of Florida's heat, just shows the indifference, the callousness, the carelessness, whatever you want to call it.
What could go wrong? And again, there's another historical precedent. I compared we've talked about comparing the arbitrary number of roundups to Stalin's reign of terror, where they were executing X amount of people, and got to get those numbers up. So just pick some people out of the phone book and put a bullet in their heads. During said reign of terror, they decided to take a bunch of people that they rounded up. They didn't shoot them. They put them on a barge and sent them off into Siberia and landed them out in the middle of nowhere. I forget the name of the island. And left them. I think they left them maybe 2 bags of flour. And there were maybe, I want to say maybe like 1,000 people. People who were not prepared to survive. These weren't survivalists. This wasn't like a game show. These weren't military people. This was just a bunch of people they rounded up, left them out there, and of course they all ended up dying. And it was horrible. There was cannibalism. There was no food, no shelter. They just left them there, no tools. So again, somebody's been going through their horrible history book and picking out ideas.
Yeah, well, that sounds like Trump, that's for sure.
So yeah, you know what? I'll look it up and I'll send you a link and we can put it in the show notes. But again, this was it's horrifying. And again, here we are.
We're back,
repeating somebody else's terrible idea.
Well, and the ideas get worse, and it comes with who's in charge of half these things. Let me put up this gentleman. You may recognize him from Trump's trial for impeachment.
Okay.
This guy is one of Trump's former defense lawyers. He's now a top dog at the Department of Justice. And he was the guy that said he was willing to disregard court orders to advance the president's mass deportation efforts. So when we look at people like this is who's making the decisions. These are the legal decisions. He's been with Trump long enough that his soul's probably pretty dark as well. When all this went out in the meetings, people were pretty surprised that we're in this Department of Justice meeting. And one of the people came forward, and I guess he's a whistleblower because he talked about it. Erez Rivani, he'd been there 15 years, and he was fired, obviously, because we can't have that in the ranks. But this guy goes on to tell people, tell the courts, fuck you, ignore any such orders, stonewall judges, anything to achieve the goal. The reason why I bring him up is because now he's been nominated by Trump to sit on the federal appeals court, and his committee hearing is coming up on Wednesday, which is tomorrow.
Jesus, pull his picture up again, will you?
Sure. And a lot of this goes to, here's this one, but let me put up the other one.
I mean, he looks like a knockoff Gus Fring from Better Call Saul or Breaking Bad. And here's the ironic thing. This guy looks like somebody that he could be rounded up if he just happened to be walking down the street.
Sure. But he's on the right side, so it's okay.
Oh, he's a good one.
And
who are these people? They're just soulless goons.
Yeah, and most of this came about because of Kilmar Abrigo Garcia. We can't look bad. Bondi's going to make up all kinds of lies. Now he's has solicited child pornography. They already said he was trafficking. That got several people in Tennessee to resign because nobody just wants to go with the made up stuff. But
yeah, listen, if you had a real problem with kiddie porn, raid any of these mega churches and you'll find plenty.
That's
but yeah, we're not looking at that. We're just looking to frame some poor guy.
Yeah, well, and I guess Tucker Carlson started the slippery slope of talking about GOP men that are into men. That list may be coming next.
I have to admit, though, it's fun to watch them go after each other. It's like a bunch of crabs in a bucket. So, yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene was going after, what's that guy's name? Mark Levin?
Yeah.
He doesn't love Trump as much as I do. I can't believe he calls himself a Trumper, and now he wants to be the face of MAGA. I'm the face of MAGA. And he's like, who are you? Nobody even knows who you are. You're just stupid.
Yeah.
It's like watching a little grade school throwdown on the playground.
Well, Marjorie Taylor Greene, when she's head of committee, is just banging the gavel, and she just doesn't know procedure. So it's offensive on two fronts because not only is she making the most noise, but she's making the most noise and she's full of nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, again, I think he used a good word, which was dangerous. Having Trump just using his gut. There was no real intelligence for these bombings, but he just had a gut feeling. And those that really drink the punch believe he's the deal maker. He's the art of the deal. He's this guy. But in reality, he's 79 years old. He's got a lot of medical issues that we don't know about. He was never a good person. So let's take his past with him. And we've seen it before. People that start to lose their mind, whether it's dementia, they revert to what they know in the past. We've seen some older relatives that weren't by blood that got pretty nasty when they started to lose their marbles.
Yeah, the truth comes out, man. The that little filter that keeps you from spewing out every hateful thought that you have is gone, and so it just pours out.
Yeah.
And these people are willing to follow him to the end. I mean, he'll take away your internet access, he'll take away your rural health care, cut your Social Security, crash the economy, but they're with him till the end. It's a cult.
And I know that RFK Jr. was on Capitol Hill today getting grilled again about vaccinations, and he's like, oh, they're saying there's no public comment that's allowed to work into these hearings and such, and he said, oh, we have this whole group of 17 people, part of the ACIP or whatever it is for vaccinations. And they're like, you fired all of them. What are you even talking about? And then they're like, but you're supplying money for this cause and that cause. And he just doesn't know any of this. He's like, oh, really? I didn't know that.
Again, why does this guy even want that job?
I don't know. Well, he wanted to be president, if you recall.
Yeah, that would have been something. And you know what? The sad thing is he might have even actually done a little bit better than Trump has been doing. I don't know. But
tough call.
I don't know. I mean, we're through the looking glass now. This is just so insane. And we're to the point where like nothing shocks us anymore every day. And it's amazing how quickly we adjust to it. When the word of the raid on Iran came out Saturday evening, everybody was up in arms. World War III, this is the end. And it's like, now it's just another day that ended in Y.
Markets are up, baby.
And my golf game's down, baby. I'm really killing it.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, people have been so desensitized to all this. It's just mind blowing. I thought it was pretty terrifying, the fact that they started this. You don't know where it's going to end. We were talking about nuclear arms. I still feel like, China and Russia are ones to be watched. I mean, if they can divide us and take us on both sides, why wouldn't they?
Yeah. Well, and I don't know if people are aware, but Iran's got a pretty robust cyber ops program too. So, if the grid starts going down, the light starts going out, the internet goes down, maybe we look to the Persians.
Perhaps, and I know Iran has a pretty good deal with Russia. They would certainly be backed by the Chinese, and Russia have already offered to give them nuclear warheads if they need it. But by the same token, I don't think Iran, maybe their supreme leader, of course, but as people, I don't think they're as crazy as the Russians, obviously. And I mean, we're inventing the new crazy, frankly.
Oh yeah, dude. The average Iranian, they're living hand to mouth. Their economy's in terrible shape. I mean, these people, yeah, it's insane. So, and some people have said that regime change is the goal, which would be fine. I saw that the Shah, the guy that we backed, that they deposed for Khomeini back in '79, the Shah's son is willing to take over. If you need me, I'll come off the bench, guys. You just get the ball rolling, and I'll be there. And I don't know, man. It wouldn't be a bad thing. I think this Islamic theocracy is terrible. I think people hate it. I mean, the oppression of women, the women that have been beaten and tortured for not wearing a head covering. I mean, it's despicable. And we talk about it a lot. I mean, any of these religious fanatics, whether it's Christian, Jewish, the Zionists, or the Islamic it's the same animal, just different stripes. They're all insane.
A fanatic.
Yeah, and it's crazy. So yeah, you know what? If you did get some regime change there, that would be awesome, because at one time Iran was trying to be a progressive society. Women had rights, women had votes. They could hold office. They could be professors, and some of these fools want to go back to the Stone Ages, and I think maybe people have had enough of that. So I guess it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
Well, and how much we can help or hinder this process, I guess, is part of it too. I know that.
Well, and again, don't forget, we're the country that just was it 2 years ago, struck down Roe v. Wade.
Yeah, thanks for the reminder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty awful, and we still. I mean, we have women losing their babies, or being forced to have babies when they're brain dead, and it's just a weird place right now for us.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's not like we're a shining beacon on the hill.
No, far from it at this point. You're absolutely right. Well, that's not a lovely not a lovely thing, but we're working through it. I think
but if we can keep Netanyahu out of jail.
Yeah, and God willing, his kid will get his wedding after all. Am I right?
Yeah.
Good stuff. So that is a lot of the terrible. You mentioned environment. You mentioned the aging and our population. I did have some information that I thought was kind of interesting. It was talking about how death was killing our planet. Nobody likes to talk about what your burial plan is, what your thoughts are on cremation. None of us plan for this generally, because it's not a great topic. It's not even something I want to talk about with you right now. But I'm going to do it because I found it to be somewhat interesting. A lot of this information was through the National Funeral Directors Association. and it's about green funeral options. In 2021, people inquiring about green burials, etc., was at about 56%. It keeps climbing. We're up over 60% of people that are looking into ways to do it. We would always, Mom would always say, "Oh, you'll never come visit my gravestone," and we were like, "Well, that's kind of old-fashioned type of thing." Obviously, our dad was cremated, but it's one of those things where she'd say, "Well, we went every Sunday to the cemetery." Like,
oh, entertainment options were limited back then.
For sure. Yes, your final destination could be a little bit more interesting than just down the street at the local cemetery type of thing. So these numbers keep climbing, and I just think it's kind of interesting that people are looking for other sources. They had a couple like mushrooms. You can put on a burial suit. It's a living, fungi. And
he was always such a fun guy.
He was such a fun guy, and even if he wasn't, now he is.
Well, Cole and I were just watching a series on HBO, The Last of Us, where the basic premise, and it's the second season, it's really good. Basic premise is the pandemic that brings down society is mushrooms. It's the fungus, and mushrooms do this. They can spread, and they can actually take over an organism. So they can take over an insect or something and get into the nervous system and control it. So that body becomes a zombie for the mushroom's will.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it just kind of reminded me that because there was a scene where the the mushrooms were spreading, and you had like these people that were half human, half mushroom, just plastered to a wall and just barely alive. So yeah, interesting.
That sounds very interesting. Well, here's my choice for you then, since you're afraid of the mushrooms. You got the sky burial. Okay.
There you go. I like the looks of that.
Nothing better. The birds come and peck your eyes out one by one, and you get eaten probably by a giant hawk.
But I'm dead first, right? I'm
of course
fully completely dead. Do I get a little bell to ring in case I wake up?
Yes, just tap on that mushroom. I'm sure it'll alert.
I'm not dead yet.
Well, you are now. So just kind of interesting. The mushroom coffin is a living coffin. They have an egg-shaped pod where you kind of are curled up in a fetal position, and they plant a tree on top of you. Ooh. You become fertilizer.
Huh, I kind of like the sound of that.
Kind of neat. So to the point as to why it's killing the environment, if you look at the traditional options in the U.S., for embalming fluid, there's about 4.3 million gallons that we use a year, 20 million board feet of hardwood. You're not going in a cardboard box. 17,000 tons of copper and bronze, 1.6 million tons of concrete. All this stuff you're putting into the earth, it's a lot. So also vast amounts of energy, resources, the whole process, and then transporting you. Wasn't cheap to get mom back to her home state type of thing. So yeah, there's a lot of factors that go into it. We talk about cremation, also not great for the environment. It keeps you from using land that you're going to be buried somewhere in a cemetery, but it also releases about 400 kilograms of CO2. Also, these toxins go into the soil, depending. Some people will get cremated and then put into the soil. So not a great, between carbon dioxide and the toxic mercury, maybe not the best option either.
Oh, wow.
So, it puts us kind of at wit's end. I thought cremation would be easy. They just throw you in there and you're done. But I thought it was kind of interesting as well that they called it the fall of religiosity. And this is out of the UK, but fewer than half of the people surveyed believe in God. And then if you look at somebody that's over 80 years of age, that fell from the 80s to about, it was 82% in 1981. And here in 2021, that's fallen to under 60%.
Wow.
Believe in God. And those, to me, were the people that went to church religiously and had that faith. So it's kind of strange to me that that's fallen so quickly in 40 years.
Yeah, but I mean, we've seen a lot occur in 40 years, especially in the last, say 8 to 10. Yeah, I don't know. And maybe people that are, traditionally religious and believe in like actual, um, the tenets that are supposedly Christian about being kind and being generous and welcoming and, not worshiping money. Maybe they've been turned off by what they're seeing now in some of these modern Christian movements, or just the hate that you see spreading, the Zionist settlers in Israel, or, these Christian white nationalist terrorists. I mean, maybe that's putting people off. I would not be surprised.
That could be. Well, yeah, again, those numbers are out of the UK. Maybe it'd be nice to get some of that wokeness over here. Am I allowed to use that term?
Yeah.
Anyway, again, back to the traditional costs, about $5,000. Um, but a green burial can be as low as $700, depending on how you want to go. One thing that I did want to bring up, which I thought was super cool, and I'll put up a picture of it. I don't know what's covered here, but they are reef balls, and they basically cremate you, which, as we talked about, maybe isn't great for the environment. But let me see if I can make that bigger. But they basically take pH neutral concrete and they mix your ashes in it, and then you become part of this artificial reef.
Huh.
The family members receive your coordinates when they place you. I think currently, what did I say? There are, I mean, this is happening now. It can cost anywhere from $300 to $7,500 for these eternal reefs, but we do have about 3,000 of these memorial reefs currently across 25 states, from Texas to New Jersey, where,
Oh, wow.
hey, I'm a diver, or hey, I like snorkeling, or whatever. You could go see your loved one. I think that would be kind of neat. Like, hey, mom's in the Caribbean or wherever.
That's very cool.
Kind of a neat idea. Again, it's not super cheap, but it does check off a lot of boxes as far as sustainability and the fact that our reefs are dying. I mean, anything that would help that. Some of the ones already have like 56 species of fish, crabs, sea urchins, sponges, and coral starting around these reef balls. So I thought that was kind of a cool thing.
That's really cool. I like that.
None of this is new. I'm sure you remember some of the, well, the Vikings. They had a great way of dealing with getting rid of you.
Oh yeah, they put you on a put you in a canoe and set it on fire and sent you out there.
Off you go. People
Off
in
you
the
go.
South Pacific would put you on a canoe and send you out to sea without lighting you on fire. I'm still alive. But sea burials do go back to ancient Egypt and Rome too. So it's nothing new. It's just a different take on death, and maybe having a more evolved. And I shouldn't say that, because they were ahead of us anyway in a lot of facets. But maybe we're breaking down the discussion about death and how you want to go. Again, not an easy topic for sure.
It's not, and it's just become more and more taboo. I'm trying to think of the name of that book. I think it was called Smoke Gets in Your Eyes.
Yes.
Really fascinating book. And, up until a certain point, like in the 1800s, people died at home. They were laid out at home for a few days, and then they were buried. And people lived with death because it was a part of life and it wasn't something to be feared. And then you had like the funeral industry kind of got involved, and it's like, oh, no, you've got to preserve the body and you've got to get it out of there and pump it full of, preservatives. And so, it was kind of a big change from, death's a part of life. We're comfortable with it. We'll lay grandma out in the parlor here. You can come and see her. We'll fill the, casket with ice. We'll keep her here for a couple of days. People can come and pay their respects. We'll have a wake, what have you. So yeah, it's really changed quite a bit. We've just become it's become so taboo, and we've become so terrified by it, but it's
It's a fact
it's
of
the
life.
yin and the yang. Yeah.
And we had a lot of cultures where those grandparents would be living with you. They were part of your life. We didn't find the escape hatch of long-term care where we could just put them in a facility and never see them.
Yeah.
And that shields us from having to see somebody you love, kind of slowly lose their life type of thing. But as to your point, people did deal with it and they handled it, and they were probably better people for it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're certainly, at least you're not afraid of it. It's not a taboo.
Yeah.
thing. And, and we were fortunate enough in a way to, we were with both of our parents when they passed and, to be
Sure.
able to be there with them. And, our dad was cremated and we ended up, throwing his ashes into Monterey Bay as he wanted. And mom was buried.
Allegedly.
Hmm?
Allegedly.
Yeah. Allegedly, you weren't supposed to do that, because it might pollute the bay. Who knows? But,
For sure.
um, yeah, I mean, everybody dies. Everybody who's ever lived has died.
Yeah. Nobody's broken that streak yet.
Well, and as our stepdad always said, you aren't the first and you won't be the last.
That's right. So all things to kind of think about. I don't know. As we sit under this heat dome, all of our days are numbered. So it's not
Yeah.
a bad thing to maybe make it a little bit more joyous and less about put me in this box and I'm going to go in the ground and I'm going to be eaten by worms. It doesn't sound very appealing to myself.
It really doesn't.
So that's your update on the passing. The reef balls is where it's at for me. But Sky
I like the
Burial.
reef balls.
Sky Burial is never a bad option because you're getting right back to nature just like that, whether you like it or not. But generally, you're dead first. I mean, nobody's putting you up there alive.
Generally. I don't know if I like the sound of that.
I'll make sure, okay? Tap on the box. Well, if you saw Kill Bill, you shouldn't be too concerned, okay?
Yeah.
Bust your way out of there.
Poke him with a stick.
He's not breathing. So I did have a couple happy endings. If we want to get to that part here, let me pull up my happy ending to the right.
Why not?
There it is. I'm going to start with LA because we still have more National Guard out there. But this shows you the tow truck drivers have had about enough of ICE. So if ICE busts out of their vans or their trucks and they are not parked legally, these guys are towing them pretty expeditiously.
Nice.
They're pushing around the locals, and by the time they come back, their car's gone. But that was
That's
kind of,
awesome.
it reminded me of those white supremacists that went into Ohio, and they all parked in a certain parking lot, and then they got into their Ryder truck, and then when they came back to their cars, all their cars were gone.
Yeah.
It's like, guys, you should have put money in the meter. You should have known how long it was going to take to be a hater, and you failed on both.
Yeah, losers.
So again, to go with the people that are pushing back, standing up to ICE because they don't seem to have any legal authority to be doing this stuff, we got to keep it going. And to see the tow truck drivers, we did see, the local authorities will come out that actually have a badge number and a name to give, and they're supporting their citizens, which they are there to protect and defend. So I'm really encouraged by that, shall we say.
Yeah, and if you're smart, you won't fuck with a tow truck driver.
You know that, buddy.
I do, yeah. I mean, one time I had, not accidentally, but I parked in my neighbor's space because it was closer. And because she never parked there. And it turns out this is the one time she decided she was going to park there. And of course, she called the tow truck and I happened to hear the truck being, pulling up, and I ran out there and he was, just getting it set to pull up on the lifter there, and I'm like, hey, wait a minute. And as soon as I got close, he like pulled up his shirt to show me his gun. I'm like,
whoa,
hey, just how much is it going to cost for you to take it down? And he gave me a figure, and I said, okay. And I didn't get towed, but yeah, do not fuck with these guys.
Well, and I remember another instance where I had a weird feeling in California your car was going to be towed, even though you were legally in our Airbnb spot. And when we went back, your car the front wheels were on the lift, getting ready to go. Fortunately, we had a soon-to-be family member who had a boyfriend who took a tire iron and went after the tow truck guy. The guy said he'd take $50, but our friend was more than willing to give him a beat down. So pick your fight, I guess. Pick your fight. I wouldn't have done that. I would have given him the $50.
Well, yeah, but in that case, it was clearly illegal. I mean, the parking pass was highly visible, and there was even a sign on the wall that said, permit parking only. There's the permit. And you know that my car was going straight down to across the border to Tijuana, and that would have been the end of
Exactly.
that.
So yeah, again, pick your spots, but in general, the tow truck guy is your friend.
Hmm.
Now, this is my last happy ending, and I'm not really sure this is good news or not, but this is typical for where we are as a nation. The U.S. government is scrapping the long-standing recommendation that adults limit alcohol to 1 to 2 a day. No more, no more. So if you're feeling it, this could be you.
Duff
3,
man.
6, 7, 8 beers. I don't know that that's recommended, but to be a teetotaler and have 1 or 2 a day is for wimps, apparently.
Wow. So are they threatened by the rise of the popularity in NA beers? Because some of them are really good.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't know, or maybe the rise of the legalization of marijuana is cutting into the beer industry, and I know their lobby is probably fairly strong. So yeah, I don't know. I've always been told that it's not a great thing, alcohol for you, but anything in moderation, I'm all about. But it seemed reasonable to say to limit it to 1 or 2 a day, but now it's
Yeah.
drink what you feel like.
Well, alcohol is 9 calories per gram of alcohol compared to 4 calories for a carbohydrate or a protein per gram. So it's up there and it adds up.
They don't call it a beer belly for nothing, okay?
That's for sure.
But again, moderation. I'm certainly not against it. I'm a big fan myself. I'll probably have a couple suds in the parking lot tonight. But
Why
point
not?
being, it seems weird when your government comes out and scraps that sort of recommendation in human health. It just seems kind of out of left field.
Yeah, it does. That's really interesting. But yeah, so drink up.
Drink up, Charlie.
That's right. Duffman says drink up.
That's right. So I guess on that note, we'll leave it to ponder how many beers is safe on a daily basis.
Well, I know the coolers will be out tonight, so we'll find out. But
Somebody said my down must be too hot to drink outside, but we're going to see.
by the time we get done, it'll be fine.
It doesn't get below 80 degrees. What are you
I
talking about?
know.
It's still going to be sweating.
Yeah, it's crazy. But I have a happy ending. The Pirates are on a 2-game winning streak.
Whoa. And is Skeens pitching tonight?
I don't think so.
All right. Not sure, are you?
But yeah, it'd be nice to see that guy get a win.
Well, they got Gonzalez back. He plays second base. He was the #1 pick overall. He does have a history of injuries, but I think when he started the night, because he's only has so many at bats this season, because he was out, he was on the 60-day injured list for a while. He was batting .271. Last night he went 5 for 5. He's now batting, I think, .325 or something. So
Oh wow, okay.
gives you hope if you can get a couple guys actually in the lineup that can hit. Maybe Skeens has a fighting chance, but they're still a very bad team right now.
Well, yeah, they don't hit. They're last in almost every offensive category, but great pitching staff.
Yeah, amazing. So if you like watching pitching, they're your team, but they're not winning very much. So
Sadly, but they're
We'll
winning
hope for
more than
better
they did.
tonight.
Huh?
We'll hope for better tonight.
Yes.
So go Buccos. That's your
Go
Buc-
Buccos.
All right. Well, I will see you later. I'll be picking you up and we'll head out to the rink.
All right, sounds good.
I appreciate your time today. Stay cool and stay great. Talk to you later.